Hello and welcome. I'm in India. Shubhan is in Manchester. Behind him is possibly Old Trafford. Yes, the red of Old Trafford can be seen. Trisha and Snehashish will do the second part of the show because the women's ODI starts from 5:30 India, which will be 1 p.m. England. So we will do the men's game for the first 15 minutes and set it up as to what's happening in Manchester, what's the weather like. Team India will practice in Beckenham. Rohit Juglan will report from there, and the second half of the show will be the women. So Shubhayan, once you reach, I've seen your social media posts. I've seen the rainy Manchester photograph. It doesn't seem like raining now. What's it like?
Yeah. Yesterday it rained. It rained quite heavily in patches, and that's what you expect from Manchester. The cab driver who took us from the coach station to our apartment was saying it was 30 degrees. It was hot a day before, but suddenly it has started to rain. So that's typical Manchester weather, which you expect. And today it has been pretty nice. It is a bit chilly as well. The sun is out. There has been no showers whatsoever, but it is chilly and it is a hide and seek between cloudy and a sunny day. But decent weather to have. So let's see what the upcoming days gives us. But this is a typical Manchester weather. It can be chilly anytime. It can be windy or rainy anytime, and it can be sunny anytime. So expected that. So but hopefully during match days it will remain fine.
Match days, from what I've seen, the Manchester weather prediction is not bad. I mean, day one, day two, day three, precipitation chances are 20, 30, 40%. Now, 20, 30, 40% we have seen all tour is actually not an issue. And it should be fine because it's not bad weather predicted. In fact, a couple of days even sun is predicted. So
Right.
hopefully, but what are you hearing? What are you hearing? What about Jasprit Bumrah? Will he play? Will he not play? From what I hear, India will play Jasprit Bumrah, or they will not kind of rest him for Manchester and keep him fresh for over. Because if the game goes away in Manchester, then the series is gone. So India will not want to take a chance on that. What are you hearing?
Of course, and they will have to play Jasprit Bumrah. This is kind of a stadium which has always helped or assisted the seamers. James Anderson built his career here. We have in the past seen Wasim Akram wreaking havoc for playing for Lancashire. So pace bowlers have always enjoyed bowling in this particular ground, Old Trafford, and India being 2-1 down now, the Old Trafford game, the series can end if India goes on to lose this match. So India have no other option than to play Jasprit Bumrah here. Oval will be a typical subcontinent kind of a flat deck where spinners will also come into play. So two, you can still take a call looking at what kind of workload Jasprit Bumrah goes about in this particular game. You still have a week's gap in between, so he'll get plenty of rest. Like Ben Stokes said, he won't get up from his bed for the next 4 days after putting in a shift with the ball. So for Jasprit Bumrah also take a bit of rest. India to train on 17th in Beckenham. You don't need to attend those training session. Once you reach Manchester, start preparing for the game and play that game. Sunil, I was listening to Sunil Gavaskar on Sony Network, and he was saying the same, that this is the biggest match of the series, and you being Bumrah being the superstar bowler of this Indian attack, the leader of this Indian pace attack, he has no business in resting. 50 overs, yes, you have bowled 50 overs, but you have to put your hands up when India need you the most, and not rest up despite having a 8-9 days gap. So Bumrah has to play, in my opinion. And when the team arrives here on 19th, possibly they will train on 20th as well. You will see Jasprit Bumrah up the ante, and leading the way for the other bowlers as well. Will Arshdeep play? That's something which we need to look in the build up to this game. But yeah, I am pretty sure, given the kind of, we are in the northern part of England right now, so he will get some kind of assistance. Let's see, because Siraj has also put in a shift with the ball, with the bat. He has played all three matches so far. Akashdeep, two back games after coming back from an injury. If you need to rest up a bowler from either Siraj or Akashdeep, then Arshdeep can be a really good option. But for Bumrah, I see no reason why he should rest and take the Oval game as his last game of the series. He has to play. He has to play.
Interesting, you are talking about Arshdeep, but both Siraj and Akash in that Manchester, sorry, in Edgbaston, Siraj in Edgbaston also patches at Lords. Both bowled very well. So, in whose position do you reckon? Trisha is also joining us from her apartment in Manchester. We'll move to the women's game in a bit, but obviously I'll get her into the discussion for the men's also. Interesting that Shubhain is talking about possible Arshdeep inclusion, but in whose place do you reckon, Shubhain, that Arshdeep can get an opportunity? Because both Siraj and Akash, to be fair to them, have done very well. I mean, one match, Lords, not really good for Akash, but that doesn't. It's a kind of an aberration. I mean, Siraj bowled some really good spells. Edgbaston, Akashdeep was sensational. First game at Lords with the slope, you kind of give him that little leeway. Manchester, at least the first couple of days, we know that the faster bowlers will get a lot of advantage and a lot of juice out there. So, in whose position are you kind of suggesting this?
Boris, it's kind of funny because when we talk about Siraj, we never talk about his workload. During the BGT, we saw the kind of dip he had in terms of his intensity and in terms of his wicket-taking capability, and that was one of the major reasons he was dropped from the Champions Trophy squad. So we never talk about Siraj's workload. Siraj, what kind, and he has been bowling some longer spells as well for India. With Bumrah not playing the Edgbaston Test, he gave his all in the first innings. Then Akashdeep took the lead in the second innings as well. So, and Akashdeep, we have to mind that Akashdeep is also coming after a decently serious back injury. He did not. He was like Bumrah. Bumrah went to a patch of offload, complete offload, no kind of physical activity for a month after the BGT. Akashdeep also went through the same phase. He was also on a complete offload where he was not having any kind of workload in terms of gym or physical activity. Then both Bumrah and Akashdeep went to the NCA, did their rehabilitation. Bumrah for the critical case, it was a bit serious than Akashdeep, so he had to consult his doctors in New Zealand as well. But for Akashdeep again, we saw the keeper come up. For him, his pace had gone down in the second innings, 130, 132. That's not the kind of pace Akash generally bowls. He's a 138, 140 kind of a bowler. Even if not 140 regularly, he touches 135 regularly, which he was not doing consistently in Lords. Although we have a gap of 8 9 days in between the test, you will have to consider the workload Siraj is having in particular. If Arshdeep can, and he has been training a lot. You also saw in all the three tests the kind of bowling Arshdeep has been putting in the nets. So in case there's any lack of intensity, you can predict in terms of looking at the overs, kind of overs Siraj has bowled, then I think India can go to a different way, or even Akashdeep. India can go and pick up Arshdeep. But for Jasprit Bumrah, he has to play this series deciding game. There is no chance whatsoever you rest up. You look at Jofra Archer's statement after the end of the Lord's Test, that I am ready to play all the next two tests. My body is ready. Ready to give it all for the England team. I don't want to lose this series. The same kind of, I'm pretty sure the same kind of hunger is there in Bumrah, and he has to push his body for one last time. I go back to that Border
Yeah.
Gavaskar Trophy, the 2018 series. I think when Bumrah was the medical staff was telling Ravi Shastri and co that we have to rest Bumrah for one of the matches, and Bumrah and Ravi Shastri
World
said
Cup.
how many
Yeah.
World Cups we have won.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have won 3 World Cups. We have not won a series against Australia. So similarly, we last won here in 2007. We have not won a single test here in Old Trafford. So
Yeah.
to
Quite
break
true.
that record, push Jasprit Bumrah, and Bumrah himself has to push his body now.
Yeah, this is an interesting point that he's making. That the Jofra Archer point or the Bumrah point. But if I extrapolate that and apply it to Siraj, I mean Siraj anyway is a fitter player. 9 days of rest, or rather 8 days of rest, with one day of practice tomorrow, then couple of days of practice in Manchester. I think his body will have enough and more rest to sort of step up and take that load. And after what happened, that heartbreak, Siraj will want to be out there, soak the action in, be a part of the action rather than give up. So, do you reckon there is any change in the Indian bowling attack? From what I understand, no. Yesterday, I had a very brief exchange with Gautam Gambhir, and they are ready for the fight, is what I understand. You reckon, except that number 3 position, which is debatable. Do you reckon any change in the Indian bowling attack for Manchester?
I actually don't, because I will go with the same logic. I think there is a lot of gap between the test match in Lords and the test match in Manchester. And both Siraj and Akashdeep will be raring to go, because especially Siraj, because the way he was heartbroken and he fought hard. He fought hard. He almost took the ship to the bank, but that small bit, and you could see how much it means to him. So I think it's almost like that, knowing Siraj a bit, thanks to your interactions with him, and I have met him once or twice with you. I think he will be that kind of a guy that, until and unless, because of performance reason, if the team now comes up and tells him that, what, we want to rest you because
Yeah, he
of
will.
your workload, I think
Exactly.
probably he'll go and say that, what, ye wala khila lo, next wala rest de dena.
I agree. I agree. And coming to that number three position, I mean, I still know 6 days left. I know Trisha and Gargi had done a video. I know they've debated that. Shubhan also has been continuously speaking on that. But uh, Shubhan, are you sensing the change? Are you sensing? But having said that, Karun Nair has blunted the new ball. There is talk of security and all of that. Do you reckon a conversation with Karun Nair, or do you reckon that India might just change? Because when you think in terms of the two greatest wins in the history of Indian cricket, Australia 18, Australia 21, and you have to say Cheteshwar Pujara at three, and whatever you say, that number three position cannot be an Achilles heel. Yes, when I say Karun Nair 40, 30, 26, or whatever, the fact is, when he's getting out, there are wrong times to get out. Gill was in the fourth evening because Karun got out. Had it sort of played out 20 more minutes, the match would have been India's. So are you kind of thinking that, oh, he needs to be spoken to, saying don't get out after you've blunted the new ball? Does he get another opportunity, or you see someone else?
It's a very
Shubham?
tricky call because whatever time Karun has spent in the middle, he has looked really, really good. The cover drives, the square drives that he has played, the straight down the ground shots that he has played, he has looked really good and really assured of what he wants to do and what he does not want to do out there. Yes, there has been a couple of error in judgments. There has been a couple of really good balls in the first couple of tests that got him out. But again, when you are getting 30, 40, you always demand from your specialist batter, not only Karun, to convert it into big ones. So far, he has not done that, and and he has been getting out in crunch situations, as you said, in the Edgbaston test. I remember in the Headingley test. I remember right before lunch. In the Headingley test, in Edgbaston test, he got right before tea or end of the day's play. It was during one of the sessions break. So Karun has been getting out right at the brink of session breaks, and that has put India under pressure. Yes, he has blunted out the new ball. He has given that platform to Shubman Gill and Rishabh Pant to go out there and score big runs, which Shubman and Rishabh have done so far. But again, from Karun, you expect it's a very tricky call because he's a very crucial component in the slip cordon as well. He has been gobbling all the catches. He has not dropped a single one that has come his way. He has taken 4 or 5 catches in the series so far, all clean catches. Uh, and looking at what work Ryan Deshkate or other coaches have been doing with Sai Sudarshan, this is my opinion. I firmly believe his series is over. He's not going to get a match. Now, Dhruv Jurel can be another option because looking at Rishabh Pant's finger, although Shubman said Rishabh will be fine for Manchester, but in case there's any doubt that Rishabh won't be able to keep or bat at 100%, then play him as a specialist batter and make Dhruv Jurel make him bat at
Okay.
number three. We don't talk about Abhimanyu Ishwaran. Unfortunately, even after 27 first class hundreds. But if Karun Nair, I think he will get another game. I think he will get another game before they take a call at Oval. But looking at these 30, 40, the amount of balls he has played, the time he has spent in the middle, his camaraderie with KL Rahul up top, I think he will get one more chance before the team management decides to pull the plug.
I also think, Trisha, there is a point there because look, when you drop Karun Nair, it could well be the end of Karun Nair's career. He's not a spring chicken that, Sai Sudarshan, who has a huge career ahead of him, that he'll make a comeback and he will get many more opportunities. If Karun doesn't make the most of this opportunity, looking forward that he's been given a longer run, Karun Nair will be overlooked. So for him, it's now or never. It is actually now or never. The other point, Trisha, I want to make is, the other point is, what is going wrong? I mean, we talk about mental health, we talk about sports science, we talk about psychology. If you take a look at all the tests, I think 9 times or 7 times we have gotten out either at the stroke of lunch or at the stroke of tea. Rishabh Pant, Karun Nair, multiple times, even this run out of this guy, then Nitish Reddy at Lords. Something's going wrong between 12:50 and 1 p.m. your time, 5:20 and 5:30 India. That 9 times out of 15 days, your people have gotten out. Something's going wrong there. Is it that India thinks, okay, the hard work is done? Is it that India thinks, okay, now the lunch break is around the corner, there is a little lapse in concentration? Because all of a sudden, those little windows, England comes back into the game and takes charge. You are not able to back them out of it. Trisha, your thoughts before we kind of move on to the women's?
I think for me, I believe sometimes Indian batters go searching to end the session on a higher note. This session has been ours because most of the times we have seen that the session probably is 70% tilted towards us, and then in the last 5-7 minutes, one wicket falls, the other batter comes, the other wicket falls, and suddenly the session is out of our hands. So I do think that especially when we are on the stronger side, we get to this point where we want to like kind of name the session that this is India's session, and we end up making very basic mistakes, and we get out. I mean, think of this: KL Rahul played a horrendous drive to get out just before lunch on the first Test match, and immediately after that, everyone knew that the debutant Sai Sudarshan will be there, and it's not easy to make a debut, even if it's the flattest pitch possible. So the other part is also this whole thing about, okay, lunch, it's going to be lunch or tea, so let's shut shop. Let's just close everything down and try and play the next 2-3 balls out. I don't think probably teams like England does play that way. I mean, they just approach those 3 balls, 5 balls, apart from whatever theatrics they do to reduce the number of overs. They always approach. You'll see, even if they play 1 over, if there's a bad ball, it'll go for a boundary. But when it comes to us, we try to shut the shop, or we are trying to kind of etch our name in the session and say, okay, you know what, we have won the session out and out, and that's how we are getting out, which is absolutely unnecessary because
I think
test
I think
matches
some
are
important
won
points
only when
made
you
there.
win sessions.
I think some important points made there. We'll come back with the men. We'll come back with the men's game. Shubhan, thank you very much for joining me. I'll give it to Trisha and Snehashish now to take on with the women, because 13 minutes later, the women step on to their final round for the World Cup, because the World Cup is round the corner. We will have Rohit Juglan and Shormishta at Lords for the 18th and 19th. Trisha and Snehashish have been diligently covering the women, perhaps the only platform to do so, and Trisha has been traveling as well. Some extraordinarily good work have been put in by the two of them, and they rightly will be covering the Women's World Cup once again come September, including the warm-up games, and I'm putting that on record, and also the Women's World Cup in England in 2026. So over to you, Trisha and Snehashish, to take this conversation forward.
Okay, Trishadi. So England have won the toss, as we all know, and they have opted to bat first. So Trishadi, first thoughts on that, and we all know that how well Emmy Jones and Tammy Beaumont, the opening pair, has done in the ODIs in the last ODI series against West Indies in England. So how do you see that, and overall the thoughts on the toss decision?
I think in our work group, Pooja just wrote that when will
When?
an Indian captain win the toss, and every match she keeps asking when. The question still remains, because in the T20 series that did not happen, and in the one day also it hasn't happened yet. But interestingly, I think, as you said, both the opening pairs are going to be interesting, because we
Yeah.
have spoken about Pratika and how England will be her real challenge, to be honest. Now, with Shafali ending on a high note in the T20I series, everybody knows that So before the England tour began, Pratika's, Pratika playing the World Cup probably was completely sealed.
Point.
But now, when it comes to England and Shafali performing, somewhere even Pratika will know that she has to play big to cover that Shafali factor. Now, talking about the other opening pair, obviously Amy Jones and Tammy Beaumont, and especially I think, Tammy Beaumont will become that much more gutsy, confident after the way she led the England team, because
Mm.
both the matches that the England team won. So to be honest, Nat Siver is actually 2-0 in the series, and Tammy Beaumont is 2-1 up in the series. So if you take the series as a series within series, Tammy Beaumont has actually won both, and in crunch situations. Both the
Yes.
games that England won, they won in extremely crunch situations. That's why I feel that the England women's team will come harder. And Tammy Beaumont as a batter will be way more confident. Now add Natsiver Brand to that. Not sure if she will bowl, probably because she's just coming back from the groin injury, and I don't think that England will want to risk her before the World Cup. 100% she's gonna play the role of an all-rounder in the World Cup, but going till the World Cup, I don't think we will see a lot of Natsiver Brand bowling. But her coming back will be a huge boost, Snehashish, to the whole batting lineup. So I do think that while ODI is our best format, and we have
Mm.
continuously spoken about this, I also think that England is on an upward climb there. Also, I mean, I probably it would sound wrong, but I do think the Charlotte Edwards in ODIs will be more under control.
Yes, absolutely. And I think Nat Shiva brand the batter, I think is more important in ODIs compared to T20s, considering her style of gameplay. But as you mentioned, Trishadi, we'll come to the teams. As you mentioned, that the Shefali factor, the way she's played, especially in the last T20I, even coach Amal Mozumdar has told the reporters that she is completely in contention for a World Cup spot. So how crucial this series becomes suddenly for Pratika Rawal, as you said, and we have been talking about, I think, in the Tri series that owned India, that okay, India have won there, Pratika has been doing fantabulously, but all eyes will be on England. How will she does? So how do you see suddenly this contention comes from Shefali Verma? How do you see the whole scenario?
See, from the Indian selection point of view, I think it's great to have such a headache because Pratika has done absolutely nothing wrong. Whatever you have provided Pratika with, whatever chances you have provided Pratika with, I think she has grabbed it with two hands. If she has more hands, then she has grabbed it with more hands. But and taken advantage, like has given actual results as well. It's one thing to grab opportunities; the other is to give big results, and she has. I mean, she has got hundreds as well. Um, but look, Lauren Filer is going to bowl at you at almost 80 miles per hour and over again. Obviously, Indians will be tested with the short ball and Pratika. This is where I want to see how strong Pratika's technique is. And it's not about me alone. I'm quite sure that selectors also want to see that. And now the third factor comes in, where Shafali has a good T20I series. I think that is one more thing which will be there at the back of Pratika's mind somewhere or the other, because look, Shafali we know in a number of ways is a big name, right? Um, so that pressure, I do think that Pratika will have. Um, but I'm more concerned, Snehashish. I have been saying this. Yes, her backlift has changed now a lot than what she had started off with. But still, in bouncy tracks, it will be very, very interesting to see how she works on it or how she goes about her job. Because two things. One, we actually have, to be honest, 6 matches before the warm up start
Yes.
for the World Cup. Warm up matches start for the World Cup. And in those 6 matches, if three of those are in England, and if Pratika does not do well for whatever reason, then she will be pegged back a little, because the moment you go back, you're not facing an Ireland or a West Indies attack, you're facing an Australian attack. So, very, very crucial 6 matches for Pratika and for Shafali as well. Maybe
Yes.
she's sniffing that chance.
Yes, absolutely. But Trishada, I think our batting looking a bit solid than the bowling unit in ODIs. If you see the last few matches in the Tri Series and even in the warm up game, 50 over warm up game where India scored around 340 or something while chasing 350 plus, they look good. Halim though at number three has been scoring some runs. She also hit that 100 in that warm up game. So that's a very good score. So I think, and in the Tri Series, what I was going through the scores, we have scored, I think, more than 275 in the last four matches, in every four matches. 275, 276, 300 plus, 330 plus. So the batting has looked solid as of now. But when it comes to bowling, in a tri series, we lost only one match against Sri Lanka. We failed to defend a score of 275. Then then the next matches we won, but we conceded runs like 261 against South Africa, 310 plus against South Africa. Then again in the final, 240 plus against Sri Lanka. So how do you see? Do you think that we all know that the star bowlers, the experienced bowlers are not there right now, like Renuka Singh Thakur, you can say Tita Sadhu also, and obviously the spinners, Suyanka Patil and on Pooja Vastakar. So how crucial this series for the whole bowling unit? The spinners have been doing fantabulously in the T20 series. Sri Charani was superb, along with Dipti Sharma. Radha Yadav was superb with the ball also. I think Snehana had a off series, I will say. She didn't pick that much of wicket. Hopefully, she will do in this order. So, how do you see the whole bowling unit, especially while we are going to defend the total? Like today, not today we are going to chase, but when we are going to get chances, yes. So, when how do you see that perspective?
I do think that you know Amanjot has come. Amanjot has come back really strongly, and I think that the T20 series will actually do a world of good to her in the ODIs because she's one of your main pacers. She's gonna obviously start with the new ball. The spinners will always do well against teams like England because they are not very good players of spin. And to be honest, even if one of the spinners have an off series, I won't. If I was in the Indian team, if
Yes.
I was, anybody in that think tank, I would not be very worried about the spinners because when it comes to subcontinent conditions, anyway, our spinners are gonna do well, and especially someone like Sneh Rana. I think the amount of experience Sneh Rana has of playing all over India, I really don't think that her form will be even a bit of a concern. Maybe if
Mhm.
Shriyanka Patil comes in for a competition between two bowlers, you might think about it, but otherwise, I don't see Sneh Rana's form being any concern. Deepti is good always. Deepti has, she'll pick up one or two important wickets here and there. Um, but your main person that I'm very very excited to look forward to is Sri Charani, of course, because after a long time you have got somebody who is absolutely a traditional spinner, and I cannot keep insisting the fact that those revs on the ball,
Mhm.
it's wonderful to watch her bowl. It's almost a spin bowling masterclass that way. But again, she has to probably adjust her line and length a bit. um, in T20s it's a little different because you expect the batter to come at you every single ball. ODIs is not going to be the same thing. Kranti has a huge opportunity here. And look, if Renuka comes back, I think in the World Cup, Renuka is playing, right? So Kranti should not right now think about the World Cup, but go one match at a time, go one over at a time, and be like, oh, you know what? Let me concentrate on this over, get my pace right, get my variations correct, because she has a good bouncer as well. We had seen that in WPL that she can bowl
Mhm.
short, and these wickets she should love bowling short. Mix it up with that ball to Meg Lanning. Clearly Kranti
Yes.
Gaur is defined by that ball to Meg Lanning, that in swinger.
Yes.
I think they'll enjoy bowling in England conditions. And she should concentrate on that as long as she's enjoying and not taking that pressure that, you know what, apart from Amanjot, I'm the only pacer in the side. Because we are playing only with two pacers. I think she should do well. Having said that, playing pace isn't going to be the biggest headache or problem for England batters. So it would be a little difficult to judge the pacers accordingly. Inexperience, of course, is there. You know, if you look at the Indian bowling lineup, you would find a lot of inexperience. Out of the five people that we are speaking about, apart from say Deepti Sharma and Sneh Rana, you won't really call someone experienced as such.
Yeah.
And Sneh Rana also is experienced domestic wise, yes, extremely
Mm.
experienced. But in the international circuit, my only thing is she has been picked up in the team, then dropped, picked up and dropped, and not persisted with. So you
Mm.
cannot say that she has played that longish, she has got that longish rope in the team to be called super experienced or something of that sort. So if you then start looking, Deepti Sharma is your most experienced one. So it will be interesting, an interesting test. But you know, when you speak about our batting lineup, we have been continuously hitting the 275 mark because someone from the top three are
Yeah.
performing.
Right.
Pratika and Mandana has been having a superb run this year. So Mandana, Pratika, or Hurling, you are getting the starts. And then Richa has been consistently
Yes.
chipping in with
Yes.
those 15 ball 30s or 8 ball 20s,
One.
be it T20Is, be it ODIs. But it's not like we have performed consistently. All five batters have performed
Collectively.
collectively. Absolutely, I would like to see that part, because if if it's about only three people performing on a rotation basis and then again somebody in the lower order, it
Mm.
becomes too much. You would want someone like a Jemima to do much more. You would want the captain to do so much more, because the captain has had a okayish T20I series. You were there in one of the games. You could not win it for the team. I'm sure Harman will have that at the back of her mind, and she would want to have this ODI series as a real statement before the World Cup. So even though she is almost like Shikhar Dhawan, even if she has an entire poor run for years in the World Cup, she'll end up performing well, and people then generally end up forgetting her poor performances. But I do think that she would want to go into the World Cup on a high. As a captain, it is very important that you are you have that form behind you to kind of marshal the squad.
Absolutely. Okay, I think the match has started already. So before wrapping up, Tushadi, what is the prediction? What is the score that you are thinking that England can set up for a target for India?
Somewhere between 270 to 285, I do
Mm.
think.
Yeah, I also
um,
thinking like that only.
yeah.
Yeah, around
And
270
I
to 290. Mm.
and I don't think India will be able to chase. I do
Ah,
think that today India might be, kind of taken by a bit of a surprise by the England bowlers.
okay. Let's see. We are all hoping that India end up winning,
Yeah.
but let's see. Yes,
It will
let's
always
see.
be that we hope India wins. I mean, people think that when you're predicting India loses, you want India to lose. Nobody wants India to lose. I mean, in fact, I was talking to a friend, Snehashish, before we close. So when India was 112 for 8 in the Lord's Test match, obviously we had given up, and it, we were feeling bad, but more angry than sad. But then the effort came from Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj, and along with a fabulous effort from Ravindra Jadeja. So everyone who's criticizing him, saying he did not have the intent to win, God bless you and your cricket knowledge. But clearly shows that you have never played with tailenders. Anyway, to be honest, I think when Siraj then got out for the first 5 seconds, because we immediately need to go to the press conference.
Yeah.
And in fact, that's what I was telling my friend, that, the problem is, as a sports journalist, you do not have that space to be sad, to be hurt, to
Hmm.
cry, to do anything, So I was in tears when Siraj got out, and the first thing that was in mind is I have to write the press conference copy. So that is also there in your mind, but it was very heartbreaking. So it's not like we enjoy saying that India loses, or we enjoy seeing India lose,
Yes.
but there are times when, well, gut feeling
Yes,
takes over.
exactly, exactly. So that is up for now. We will definitely meet in the next live. So till then, thank you and take care.